Welcome friends to the lecture series of Patrikala College of Commerce and Management. Today we are going to study methods of closing sales from the unit market analysis and selling from the core sales and distribution SEM5 TYBMS. I, Ms. Krupa Shah, Assistant Professor, Patrikala Degree College of Commerce and Management is going to deliver this lecture. Ideally, every sale should be closed at the peak, but in practice, it may often difficult to determine the peak. In fact, during the whole process of sales presentation, a number of peaks may appear. There are many methods of closing a sale. The applicability of these methods depends on the sales situation, the nature and content of the sales presentation, and the prospect's behavior or attitude towards buying. For closing a sale, a salesperson needs to use the most appropriate method. The adoption of particular method or the most appropriate method depends on various factors like the product quality, features, characteristics of the buyers, and environmental or circumstances of the sale. In course of sales presentation, the way the prospect's mind moves or acts or reacts also become a critical factor and has an important bearing on the minds of close. Depending on these various factors, any one of the mentioned method may be adopted for closing a particular sale. And these methods are trial close, testimonial close, alternative close, affordable close, alternative close, demonstration close, question close, complement close, balance sheet close, and the last is concession close. We are going to deal these methods one by one. A trial close is not a normal closing technique, but a test to determine whether the person is ready to close. ABC is a common abbreviation, means always be closing. It means that a salesperson should always be heading towards a close. Although salesperson must be careful about overdoing this. If people are nowhere near ready to buy, then this will just annoy them. The example is like you should ask a question, how would it look on the shelf back at home? Or it looks like you really like this. Is that true? Do you prefer a larger or a smaller version? Right? The trial close works by putting the idea of closure into the person's mind. Their response will tell you whether they are ready or not. The second testimonial close works by providing evidence from a credible source. Customers are more likely to trust someone who is similar to them. The salesperson can show letter from a satisfied customer. The satisfied customer must agree to act as reference. Reward the satisfied customer with thanks, which may be in a form of a letter of appreciation, a discount coupon, or a small present. The customer should be pleased to continue his conversation. The salesperson can show his courtesy by saying, would you like me to arrange a visit for you? Or I receive letters from happy customers. Here are few. Would you like to read them? Next is alternate. Basically, this method works through the assumption principle. The customer acts as if he has already decided to buy, and the only question left is to make the choice. Example, shall we meet next week or the week after? The customer is offered more than one alternative. This method works well when the salesperson is seeking agreement and not just selling products. It is not advisable to offer too many alternatives because the customer may get confused. By offering limited alternatives, the customer is helped to make the final choice. Example: which of these three instruments seems best for you? Question asked by a salesperson giving three alternatives, three instrument choice of three instrument would close the sale by choosing one alternative or one instrument. Next is affordable close. In this kind of method, close out any objections the customer have about price by making sure they can afford it. Find out how much customer can afford and then that a salesperson have a financial plan that fits their capability to pay. Show the price of not buying, for example, the cost of continued ownership of the current car. Sell them something else they can afford. Bring your price down to what they are prepared to pay. Always remember, do not close people into debt they will not be able to repay. So the example questions which can be asked by the salesperson to the customer can be, how much per month can you afford? Yes, we can make a deal for that. Or, the basic model will fit your price range. Or, the cost per page of this printer is the lowest in class. Next, if we can bring the price down to what you say, will you buy today? The affordable clause works by structuring the finance of the deal to fit into the other person's ability to pay. I can't afford it is often more of an excuse than a real objection. If they really do not want to buy, salesperson will find that they will immediately jump into other objections. Next method is adjournment clause. Under this method, the salesperson does not go for the sale now. He gives customer time to think. He tells them that they probably need time to consider the offer made by him. The salesperson has created enough tension. The customer will seriously consider the deal and is likely to come back. The salesperson can set up the next meeting when perhaps he will be able to close the deal. Example, he would question, I can see you are thinking very carefully about this. Shall I come back next week to see how you are progressing then? In many situations, the relationship is very important as a salesperson will be going back to the customer for more orders. Adjournment can be a nice surprise for the customer. The adjournment clause is particularly easy to manage when the salesperson visits the customer as opposed to having to hope that they will call back. Next is demonstration clause. Demonstration of the product results in conviction. Seeing is believing. The customer sees for himself how the product operates and gets convinced. You got to believe this. I didn't either when I first saw it. Just watch. This is how the salesperson goes ahead. It is common to give demonstration with audio-visual equipments. It is good. It is a good practice to allow the customer to try and find out himself. Demonstration is highly effective because it educates the customer how to correctly use the product and ensure its longer life. The next method of close is question close. Is used by the salesperson who asks probing questions to the customers. By asking probing questions, he eliminates the objections not to buy. The customer remains attentive because he may be required to answer the question. Example, don't you think this product will solve your problem? If the customer says yes, the close takes place, and if he says no, other method can be adopted or other question can be asked. Positive reply closes the sales negativity reply, and if not, then other methods can be adopted. So next is complement close. Under this method, is used by a skillful salesperson who flatter the customers by paying compliments in nice and pleasant words. It satisfies their ego and are prepared to listen to the proposal of the salesperson. By being nice to the customer, they also feel obliged to be nice and get ready to buy the product. The example, as you are knowledgeable, I hardly need to say anything more, or after your correct observation, I have nothing to add. The salesperson can admire the integrity. This can also be called as a vanity clause, the ego clause, or the flattery clause. After this complimentary clause, we'll look after the balance sheet clause. Senior salespersons use this method because it requires high level of tact. The salesperson makes objective presentation by enumerating the positive and negative aspect of the product. In the final analysis, the positive aspect wins. The salesperson can write it down like a balance sheet. He must ensure that positive aspect column is larger and more impressive. Certainly, the negative aspect column will be short. This approach has to be reasonable, free from bias. The salesperson may go ahead with say, let's evaluate. You are getting it within your budget and certainly the best deal. The salesperson maintains a balanced and a fair approach and succeeds in building up trust with the customer. The last is the concession clause. This is perhaps the most commonly used method to seal the deal. The customer is motivated with the offer of concession to buy. The salesperson can be specific about wanting an order in return for the concession offered. He may state, I'm going to give you 3 services free, or if you are ready now, I'll make sure the product is delivered to you today itself. Concession clause works by offering an incentive to the customer and expecting an order in return. Concession can be both in monetary and non-monetary forms. Extended credit period or discount on cash payment is also considered as concession. There are many closing techniques in sales, which are prescribed actions that salespeople take to persuade the customer to make necessary commitment. Sell on tangible, close on the intangible is good advice here. If people feel tricked or otherwise betrayed, they will not only not buy from you now, they may well never buy from you ever again or ever turn all their friends against you. In particular, beware of using unsubtle techniques with professional buyers who can usually see them coming from miles away. Show them good performance. Show the product actually performing. Testimonial close. Use happy customer to convince the new customer. The customer will trust the other customer. So the testimony given by the customers for the use of product will be trusted by the prospects. Okay. Trial close. See if customers are ready for a close. And question close. Ask probing questions to the customer. Go on asking till the customer says yes. These are the references from where the notes have been taken, and thank you so much for listening to the lecture. Hope you all have understood and enhanced your knowledge with it. All these slides are for the educational purpose. Refer it, go through it and learn it. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you so much.